further ado, another one of our fantastic partners who's making a massive difference, not just in the UK, but globally. And my pleasure to introduce Liza Belozerova from Google.org.
Hi, good morning, everyone. First of all, it's a great pleasure and honor to be part of this conversation and share the stage with Hannah and Helen. And thank you for BT and Good Things Foundation for inviting me today. And before I start, I just want to acknowledge and honor the incredible work that a lot of people in the audience are doing. I visited one of the online centers as well in Portsmouth, and the work that you're doing is absolutely incredible in working with people who are most in need and shifting the dial on some of the toughest challenges around digital skills. So let me start by giving you an overview of Google's commitment to digital skills. First, I'd like just to share a couple of data points and statistics around why we actually care about digital skills as a subject as Google. European economy and society are going through a lot of transformation, and we know that in the next 10 or 15 years, around 21 million new jobs that are going to be created. But that also creates big challenges because 44% of the population in the European Union currently doesn't have sufficient digital skills. Yet at the same time, job vacancies are at risk of being unfulfilled, and there will be 500,000 ICT jobs that are going to be created by 2020. So we really want to support people in helping them move smoothly through this transition. So Google made a commitment to train 1 million people in digital skills. That was back in 2015. And we were delighted that in 2016, we actually went far beyond that number and trained 1.6 million Europeans in digital skills. But we got a lot of feedback from the people that we trained that actually they didn't see digital as just a destination. They saw digital skills as a tool. And this is where we started kind of rethinking our strategy a little bit. And we made a new pledge to help 1 million people find jobs and grow their businesses and improve their careers by 2020. It's very important to say that for certain demographics, it's not just about learning online. We also have to think about the offline work. Sorry, I think my slides are in the wrong order, but I'll go here and then I'll go back. We noticed kind of a very strong pattern that there are a lot of people who struggle with the courses that are available online. So we had to create these offline hubs, and we partner with Good Things Foundation to deliver them. And they offer a whole range of soft skills and hard skills. And here's a story of a guy called Paul, and this was in Denmark, who's 93 years old and who came to one of the garages and really found a lot of the trainings very useful. But how do we know actually that these trainings are working, and how do we understand what we actually teach? So we invest a lot of money in research and understanding kind of the granular details of context behind digital learning and looking at different areas across Europe and what the need is, because between France, Romania, or Sub-Saharan Africa, the need in digital skills and the way we talk about digital skills is very different. So this is a little summary of the 3 types of key research that we have done in the last couple of years and what we're planning to do. First, our research was around digitization and how it can become growth engine in Central and Eastern Europe and how we can accelerate economies. So that was the research we did last year with McKinsey and understanding the digital challengers narrative in Eastern Europe. And then we also did a research around breaking down Europe in very kind of hyper-local regions and try to understand how we can prepare people for future of work with specific context in mind. So we really, instead of looking at cities or countries, we'll drill it down into counties and small areas to see what does the future of work actually look like in those areas. So we're very excited about the findings of this research with SEPS and to really kind of understand that the detail and the readiness of Europeans for lifelong learning. And now let me talk about Google.org. So Google.org is Google's philanthropy. Google's philanthropy has existed since the outset, which was over 20 years ago now. And Google.org essentially does three main things. We invest 1% of Google's annual profit into nonprofits. We also support the nonprofits with Google volunteers, which are increasingly growing in Europe and across Europe, Middle East, and Africa is our key region. And what we really want to do is to place Googler volunteers into nonprofits to help the nonprofits tackle some of the toughest challenges. And we offer a range of volunteering options between kind of light touch consultancy to full-on 6-month placements, secondments, where Googlers are placed for 6 months as a team into nonprofits to help develop a specific new area or a strategy or a new kind of work stream. And the third thing we do is technology. At Google, we believe that we have to bring the best of ourselves to the table. So technology is obviously the core of our DNA. So what we do is also offer expertise on tech to the nonprofits that we support. And these are the 4 key areas of investment for our philanthropy around the world. Bless you. Around the world, we focus on AI, work and learning, crisis response, and online safety. So these are the 4 key portfolios where we are constantly in the lookout for nonprofits and social enterprises who innovate and create training in those areas. But today I'll focus specifically on economic opportunity. Because our main aim, specifically in Europe, and what our biggest investment is going towards, is helping people prepare for a changing economy. And how we support Google's broader commitment to digital skills is really focusing on most marginalized populations and people in need. And it varies depending on the country and region we operate in. It can be women or ethnic minorities or people who live in rural areas, unemployed youth. So it's a wide range of people who are most in need in that particular area. In 2018, we directed over $50 million to the topic of future of work. So there are 2 areas for us in the topic of future of work where we invest most of money. And the first area of our grants is innovative training programs that are preparing people for careers that need a whole range of digital skills, from basic digital skills to more advanced digital skills. And the second bit is supporting solutions that use technology to improve skill-based learning and facilitate the job search process. And this is kind of what we call the innovation bucket. And I'd love to give you a couple of examples of projects in Europe that we support who do really innovative things in the space of future of work. Here's a nonprofit that are based in France. They're called Base Impact. And what Base Impact have developed is this AI career coaching tool called Bob. So the challenge in France is that currently there are over 3 million people who are unemployed. And the traditional public service providers are not coping with the demand. And it's very not cost effective because it costs over €1,000 per person to place a unemployed person into a job. So what Base Impact have created is this very innovative tool that didn't exist before called Bob, which is an AI career coach. So this is how it works. You log in and you enter your query and enter your details, and then it carries you through the whole process to build your CV, look at what are the jobs in your area that are available. And in the last 3 years, Bob has grown from 0 to 200,000 beneficiaries with a tiny team of 8 people only. So far, the impact results are great. 88% find Bob's advice really useful, and 4 out of 10 cases, people manage to find job. And this is another example from France. There is a nonprofit called Article 1 who have created this tool, which is called Job Ready. And what it does is it helps unemployed young people who don't have a school or university degree to convert their soft skills into a framework which is accredited by the government. There is a big challenge of young people not being able to find employment because they don't have certified credentials. So for example, if you're a young person who hasn't been to school or who hasn't had a university degree, but you have done a lot of amazing things in your life, like you've been a football coach, or you supported elderly people in your community, you know, you have great communication skills, you have leadership skills, but how do you prove to the employer that you actually have those skills? So this is a tool also that uses AI, where a young person can input all their life experiences and it converts them into specific soft skills criteria, and at the end certifies it, and they can go to an employer with the certification. So this is how the back end of that AI tool looks like. And the second area which we focus on in Future of Work in Europe is basic digital skills. There are a lot of different bits of statistic that were mentioned today, but for us, kind of the driving insight that we know is that 20% of Europeans have never accessed the internet. 21% of British people don't have the skills to communicate via email or use the search engine. There are only 30% of women in IT in EU, and about 90% of all jobs will require digital skills by 2020. So it's definitely enough for us to know that we need to act very quickly. More examples of projects that we support that I'd like to share with you. So here is a project in Spain that is run by an organization called Fundación Mujeres, who train women living in rural Spain in basic digital skills. And it's a project called Digitalizadas that Google.org has been supporting for many years now. In Spain, they know that over 43% of women living in rural areas are unemployed, and digital skills is one of the important steps for them towards getting a type of employment, either part-time and full-time. And these are kind of women coaches who work with women in a similar model to online centers, actually, but specifically focused on the rural areas in Spain. And obviously we come to Good Things Foundation, who have been our grantee for many years now, and you know, all of you here are familiar with our online centers network. And I mentioned earlier, I visited one in Portsmouth as well, and we're delighted to continue working with Good Things Foundation in growing this community of online center network. And the team at .org really loves the idea of how connected the online centers are to their communities. What we notice a lot that people are keen to have digital skills, but they're scared to go too far. They're scared to travel or access places where they wouldn't usually go to. So what we find very powerful about online centers is that these are the places where community actually comes together. These are places that are accessible and where people who need digital skills can find mentors who speak their language and understand them. And the final area where we invest from our philanthropy more and more is skills for jobs. And we invest in nonprofits who offer training to support young people and adults to gain digital skills that lead to good paying jobs. And here's an example from Romania. It's a nonprofit called Digital Nation. And what the issue they're tackling is remote learning. The project is also focused on rural Romania, where a lot of young people are leaving because there are no education or job opportunities. And although kind of online learning is becoming more and more popular, but everyone knows that the attrition rate in online learning courses is over 90%. So how do you fix that? Obviously, the main insight that drove Digital Nation's work was that it lacks human bond, it lacks human community. So what they have created is this kind of classroom which replicates essentially a social media environment, but instead of being kind of a chat tool where people just interact, it is an actual learning environment. So they're trapping young people with an interface which is familiar, but they teach them IT skills. So they have mentors and explorers, and if you want to be part of the community, you have to stick for at least 6 hours per week of learning, and at the end you get a degree which is certified. And all the explorers, they interact and they're coached by the mentors throughout their whole pathway. It's a new pilot and we're testing it over the next years, and we're really excited to find out about the learnings from this pilot. And finally, the final example from our Skills for Job is our work with a nonprofit called Generation. And Generation started when they, back in the US, and they brought their work to Europe when they saw the growing unemployment in our region, and they have created a boot camp model to train young people in specific skills that are most in need. What they do is that they survey employers in different areas to understand what the need is, and they train young people who have been unemployed for over 3 years in those skills to fulfill specific vacancies. So they have trained people in things like robotics, Java development, cloud technician, digital marketeers, and many others. So I've given you a quick overview of different projects we support across Europe, looking at a range of different skills, from basic digital skills to more complex digital skills, as well as some of our innovation work. And I'll be looking forward to some of your questions. Thank you so much.